What is happening, my people? It is your proverbial boy, Matty Mills, and today we are going to talk about the importance of building a brand. So, you might be thinking to yourself, like, why would I really want to build a brand? Well, there's a number of reasons why this is really important, but I would say one of the main reasons is that it's going to allow you to build customer loyalty. This is going to be one of the crucial things. So a lot of the competitors in your market that you're up against, if you treat them very well and you have a very strong brand, maybe you have a really awesome logo, you have awesome design for your specific branding, you have awesome messaging and copy for all of your branding and all of your promotional material, then it's going to make it a lot easier if you would actually sell to that customer long term, and they're more likely to actually buy from you versus buying from your competitors, just because everything that you have, all that messaging, all that color that you have for your specific brand, it's going to resonate with them a lot better. One of my favorite examples is Nike. Their logo is definitely one of the most memorable in the entire world, but even then, like, I love Nike. It's definitely one of my favorite brands, and if you look at them, look at that swoosh logo they have, right? Like, when you see that, you know exactly that it's Nike. And even when you buy their shoes, it comes in that awesome orange box and you know exactly what you're getting. Like, when you see boxes or shoe boxes in the shoe store, for example, you know exactly which ones the Nikes are just because they come in that specific orange box, and it's just so memorable for me. So anytime in the shoe store, like when I see it, I'm like, okay, I want to buy the Nikes because it has that, right? And you need to think about that as well. Even then, if you build a really strong brand, you can price your products a lot more expensive. Like, when I go and buy shoes, I could buy any pair of shoes like for 20, 30, maybe even 60, 70 bucks, something like that. But there's these Nike shoes out there, like, they just charge so much for them, right? Like these rare limited edition ones, or even like those Kanye Supply 350 Yeezys that he has, like, those are several $100s, right? And people line up for those and they spend hundreds of dollars and they camp outside. And look, even with Apple, right? Like, you could go out and buy any sort of regular PC product, but people line up around the corner waiting for whether it's the iPhone or the new MacBook coming out, and man, they don't mind spending that extra couple $1,000s on that product versus their competitors just because it's Apple specifically. Like, they've just built such a strong brand with them. And this comes with like coloring and really just having, I guess, a good logo design, but a lot of it is really just the messaging and the communication channels that you have with your customers, right? Like, just making sure that all of your copy is focused on what your customers want versus sort of what you want in your perspective. So it's really just having that stuff that's, once again, focused on your customers. And again, I talked about a lot about this yesterday, but a lot of people don't really listen to that stuff, but it's so important, is really just having that messaging that reaches out to your specific customers and finding out exactly what they want. And building a brand is a long-term play as well, right? Like, all of these big brands you see, they weren't built overnight. You can take any of the big companies out there, whether it's Apple or Nike or Amazon. These companies always started out small, but they just invested so much money into building that brand and really just exposing people to the messaging and to the logo as much as possible, that people are more likely to buy from them, and they're going to be in the front of the mind when the customer actually goes to make that purchasing decision, and when they're actually doing their analysis when they want a new product, right? And even then, a lot of people just really focus on their specific product. Like, a lot of new entrepreneurs out there, they might have an awesome product, but they're only really focused on that one specific product. And there's a really good quote for this. I believe it's Tony Robbins, once again, one of my favorite guys, who always seems to drop knowledge bombs on me all the time for the specific topics that I'm speaking of. But he talks about how essentially companies that focus on their products, they don't build big businesses. Companies that focus on their customers, they do build big businesses. So you need to be really focused on your customers and finding out exactly the products that they want. And you're gonna have many products, and essentially if you just have the one product though, you're gonna start out and it might be successful at first, but eventually at some point it's gonna teeter off in terms of sales, right? And if you have a good brand, people are more likely to buy from you, and you can charge them more, and they're going to stay loyal to you and buy your products versus all of your competitors. All right. So that's essentially just, I guess, my 2 cents on branding. And if you're not good with, I guess, like design and messaging and copy, you could always hire someone to do the stuff for you. Like, I'm not great at design, so any sort of logo design or any sort of graphic design, I guess, I get someone else to do that. But for me, doing any sort of sales copy, or for the most part, developing the website or the sales funnel rather myself, like that's stuff that I do myself, and it's stuff that I would never necessarily outsource to other people, because it's the things that I'm actually good at, right? Like helping people build their sales funnels and building a step-by-step process of how they actually sell their products. Like that's essentially something that I do. And even then, like when you're getting your logo design, for example, like the first couple logos you're gonna get, they're not necessarily gonna be great, but it doesn't really matter at first in terms of your logo, right? It's like, if you're just starting out and building that strong relationship with your customers, then long term, you are actually gonna be successful, right? And it's something where you just need to sort of start out and start building that brand, really just focusing on the long term, because so many people are just focusing on their products and just having that short-term gain with actually just selling their products, when they need to be focused on the long term. So don't be myopic, really focus on the long term, put in the time and energy to build that brand, and I guarantee you as an entrepreneur and as a marketer will totally be successful. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the third episode of Underground Marketing Conspiracy. If you're watching this, I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want you to check me out on Instagram. It's at matty.milligan. Check out my Facebook at Matty Milligan Official as well. And I will see you next time on the Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Peace.